Welcome to this explainer. Today we're exploring a really provocative perspective on a life-saving medical procedure, one that makes you question everything about life, death, and maybe even the soul itself. So let's just dive right in. The central question here is a heavy one. We're looking at a source that completely challenges how we think about heart transplants. Instead of a medical miracle, it argues they come with some seriously dire spiritual consequences for everyone involved.
Okay, so first up, a life-saving crime? The premise here is, well, it's pretty shocking. The idea is that while a heart transplant definitely extends a person's physical life, it could be doing profound, lasting spiritual harm. And not just to the person receiving the heart, but to the organ donor too. And the whole argument really kicks off right here, with the state of the organ itself. You see, for the transplant to work, the heart has to be, for all intents and purposes, alive. It's taken out just moments after someone is declared clinically dead. This timing is absolutely crucial to the argument. This brings us to the next big idea: what happens beyond clinical death? What's really fascinating here is the source's core concept of the soul's relationship with the body right after the body stops functioning. So this is all built on an idea the source calls connection threads. Think of them as these invisible spiritual links that don't just snap the instant a person is declared clinically dead. The idea is that the soul stays tethered, it stays connected to its physical body for a while.
And here is where that idea leads to a truly harrowing claim. According to this timeline, for at least 24 hours after clinical death, those connection threads are still intact. Now, what does that mean? It means the donor's soul is still linked to the body and consciously experiences the entire organ removal. The source says it feels everything as if it were happening without anesthesia. Just imagine that.
But the ordeal for the donor's spirit doesn't end there, not according to the source. Let's look at how this lingering connection supposedly follows them into the afterlife, creating what's described as a lingering ghost. What you end up with, from this viewpoint, is this really tragic spiritual entanglement. On the donor side, their spirit is now bound to what the source calls stolen heart. It's forced to suffer, basically in limbo, until the recipient of that heart eventually dies. And for the recipient, they're now carrying a foreign body that starts to exert the donor's influence over them. And this idea doesn't just stay in the spiritual world. No, the argument is that it has real, tangible effects you can actually see in the recipient's personality and their behavior. To back this up, the source points to all these reports of recipients who, after surgery, just change. We're talking about their entire character being altered, sometimes developing eccentric new behaviors or even sudden aggression. And all of this, the source claims, is a direct result of the donor's spirit influencing them through the transplanted heart. Okay, and this is where the source really zooms out and brings it all together, making its biggest, most severe claims about the whole practice. The final judgment, you could say.
I mean, it does not mince words. The text calls this modern cannibalism. That's an incredibly powerful term, and the justification is pretty stark. Because the body isn't fully dead on a spiritual level when the organ is taken, the act is, from this perspective, a form of cannibalism.
So according to this belief system, getting involved in these crimes against nature brings on some serious karmic consequences. On Earth, it could show up as physical deformities, in this life or maybe even future ones. But in the beyond, it gets way worse. We're talking about the soul being so debased it can only crawl, not walk upright, and it's slowly driven down through different spiritual planes.
And this is interesting. It connects that spiritual argument right back to a very real-world ethical problem. The text calls out the macabre trade of organs, where poor and vulnerable people are exploited. It suggests that everyone in that chain, the doctor, the recipient, the whole system, shares in the spiritual accountability for this.
So that's where this source leaves us, with this really provocative question. It takes something we see as a modern medical miracle and reframes it completely as a profound spiritual dilemma. It forces you to ask, if you extend a life here on Earth, what, according to this framework, is the ultimate price being paid in the beyond?